let's flip a coin. Head Carolina, tails California, somewhere greener, somewhere warmer.
Hello, it's Andy Graham of HoboTraveler.com. I'm in Batumi, Georgia. It's a country in southeastern Europe. It's a small country, one of those satellite nations of Russia. And I've traveled non-stop for 16 plus years and went to 106 countries. I answer travel questions. This is the Ask Andy show. I answer kind of traveler lifestyle. I explain what the traveler lifestyle is by answering your questions. Tristan asked one of the more important questions I've had in years. He asked me, Andy, why do you think you've kept traveling for 16 years when the average person just sort of travels for 2 or 3 years and gives up? And so the reason why I want to answer this is because for those of you that are in this romantic love of the idea of traveling, it's kind of a romantic, glorified, visual. It's the dream. People say, Andy, you're living the dream, and I am living the dream, my dream. But you'll find that you'll go traveling and it's not really your dream thing. After a couple of years, you'll find out that you're not in love with travel, and you'll give it up. Because love is something you do. I mean, the proof of love is when you never leave. People that really love things do what they love. Okay, so if you end up showing up at the bar every 2 days and sitting there for 4 hours, that's what you love to do. And you have to find out. Like I know that I love to walk around office supply stores for some reason. I just really like to walk around office supply stores. So when I was in the United States, I'd always just seem to stop and look around them. I don't know. I like little organizational things. But you gotta know what you love to do. But I'm going to try to explain to you why I've continued to travel for 16 years and why I fell in love with traveling. And while the average person keeps talking about travel like they're going on a trip and then they're coming back, if they really loved where they was going, they wouldn't come back. Okay, and this is the ironic part about most travel writers and travel things, is they're talking about a place like it's paradise, but why in the hell would you return from paradise? I mean, this is too stupid for me. I mean, I'm going, if it's paradise, stay there. You don't come home from paradise. Okay, so I've got these categories, and I made this into a longer post, and I wrote it in a thing. And if you went beyond the videos, if you went to Hobo Traveler blog, you could find it. It showed in all the a bulleted list, like 1 through 10 on each one of these categories. But I try to make this short, so I'm making it into the most important points that I know, and then I might make it go into some other video later expanding on these different points. But first of all is love, friends, and family. That's one of the categories. And the most important thing I know is I admit that I'm searching for friends, I'm searching for love, I'm searching for family, I'm searching for people to share my life with. And the opposite is the person that says, I don't need anybody. That's got to be the worst thing you could possibly say, because I'm 100% sure that everybody needs somebody, and if nothing else, even the ones that say they don't need anybody almost always get married and have somebody. So I admit that I'm searching for this, and that anywhere I go, in any city I go to, I'm searching first for friends, family, and love. If they don't have friends, family, and love, I'm in the wrong city. And if it's but I'm searching in all the right places and not all the wrong places, because this is the kicker in the United States is, at age 42, I never got married. I asked one girl one time, but I never got married, and everybody's always saying to me, Andy, you'll meet that girl. And I'm going, you finally got to say, maybe I'm in the wrong place. I'm in a bad market. I'm in the wrong place. I really didn't want to marry a divorced woman with 2 children, and I not to say that I couldn't fall in love with a divorced woman with 2 children, but I never met the girl of my dreams in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I was living at the time. And I was tired of acting like I would someday or pretending that I would. So first of all, I travel to find love, friends, and family. On the hindsight, after you're about 40 years old, you realize that people are married and have friends, family, and they get married and they really don't sit around and talk to you as your best friend anymore, so it wasn't that big a deal. It's really difficult for a 20-year-old to leave all his friends. It wasn't to me at age 42 or something when I was. What I've learned traveling, the second category is what I have learned. What I've learned from traveling is that people that do something are not as happy as people that do nothing. Okay? Buying stuff never made me as happy as sitting around with my friends. And this kind of goes into, number one again, but people think that people that do something are not as happy as people that do nothing. There's people that sit around all day talking with their friends, and like in Africa or in Southeast Asia or South America, Central America, people are just sitting around. You'll see them right in front of the store. In the store, there'll be 3 of them. They'll be sitting there talking with each other, and these people are actually happier than the people that go working all day and do a lot of things all day and accomplish a lot of things all day, and are striving to make $1 million. I really believe that these people are a lot happier. I learned as traveling is that even though you think that these people are poor, they're actually happier than you that are rich. And I think that striving to have a lot of possessions and stuff makes people unhappy, and being content with just hardly anything but your shirt on your back is happiness, and contentment comes from there. So I learned that striving to have something or striving to do something all day doesn't make you happy. So I've learned that just to do nothing. I learned that I'll try to make sure I don't miss anything. But so not everybody that's going to go travel. The third thing I was going to write about is who I was, who I am, what I am, and most important is about me as a traveler. The most important benefit that I had a skill set was that I can fix anything. Basically, I have the capacity to repair, fix a door, overhaul a motor, fix my computer, solve problems. So basically, I'm a problem solver, and I love to solve little problems, little enigmatic problems, like how to take a hot water shower. I got a bucket I always carry, and I usually carry. I don't have it here in Europe. And then I put a hot water heater in, I make hot water. So when I start having an uncomfortable problem that makes it difficult for me to travel, I search for a solution until I find one. And after 16 years, I found most of them. So being that I can fix things. So I was a person that could fix about anything. The fourth thing was support. I have a very good support system. I'm not sure generally that there's 2 types of travelers. There's people like me that have a great family of mother and father and friends, and I go traveling fully aware that if there's any kind of problem I can go back home. The other type of traveler is the person with absolutely no support, where they basically hate their parents, they hate their mother, which is probably 95% of the travelers, and they basically are the wanted, the unwanted, and the hermits. The unwanted go travel because nobody at home wants them, and this is a very common person. But they really are searching for a place where they're wanted, and this is so they tend to go to places where they're a big fish in a small pond. But that doesn't keep them traveling, because all they have to do is go to some third world nation and suddenly they're a big fish, and they won't move, because once they get addicted to the big fish, they won't leave. It's a complicated situation. But I have the support of my mother and father and my sisters and brothers and friends at home. And I one time was sitting there thinking about money, and a person said, they needed $500, and I said, don't you have anybody that'll loan you $500? And I realized, I made a list, and I came up with 20 people that would loan me $500 if I really needed it. And you know, you can't. This is the really needed time, right? When I'm in South America and I need $500 to fly home, and I just need it. And I got 20 people, so I'm very rich in support. So that's who I was when I left. Money. I'm going to talk about this is number 5. Money. People that go traveling tend to think that they're on vacation all the time, and I never went traveling with the idea that I was on vacation. I went traveling with the idea that I was I was going to travel until my money ran out, but then after I was gone long enough, I realized that if I could earn money, I could stay traveling. So the first thing you have to do is make sure you have money. And the people that, you know, the best people for this is the retired people, sadly. I mean, anybody that retires at age 60 or 55 or something like that can, they can travel the whole planet. Once, I'm going to collect Social Security here in about 2 to 5 years. I'm 59 years old. And once I got Social Security, I have absolutely zero reason I can't travel. Right now, I'm kind of always in the gun in a way. I have to earn enough money to continue to travel. But traveling is 100% about the money. And if you want to travel forever, I got the money figured out. So once I got the money figured out, I remember sitting in Thailand watching Steve Knowlton show me about Google AdSense in Khao San Road. He was sitting in this computer and he's showing about the money he made. And I went out, connected it up to my website, and I made $5 the first day. And once I knew that I made $5 that day, I knew I could travel forever, because I can live on $5 a day. And so once you have $10 or $20 a day, it's easy to travel. Then, of course, as you get older, you start getting worried, and it's really, maybe it goes up to $40 a day, right, because of health problems. But generally, I can live on $5 a day. But to be real happy, I need to have about $30 a day, and it's a piece of cake to live on, $50 to $100 a day. So all according to how much money you have. But if you have $100 a day, that's $3,000 a month. But if you have $1,500, it's $50 a month. So it's all about money. And if you don't want to talk about money in your travel, and you just deny, and you don't have any idea how much money you're spending or anything you're doing or all this stuff, you can't travel. And you'll see that I always talk about money, because it's the only thing you need to travel, really. Money and a passport. Okay, number 6, what I do. This is what I do traveling. Most important, I make a plan, and when it's a bad plan, I stop. When I am not having fun, I do not pretend to make people happy. I do something else. You see travel bloggers trying to make people happy. If you read travel writers, they're always trying to write something that makes you happy, and they're telling you this place is paradise, and then they're going home. Back to the point, if it was really paradise, they would get stuck there, and they wouldn't be able to leave it because they loved it too much. They don't go to paradise. They're just basically pretending it's paradise. Okay, you see me whinging about Europe. It's not paradise to me. It might be paradise to you, but it's not paradise to me. And I'm not going to sit around and keep my mouth shut or try to do it. And if nothing else, I'm going to complain about it until somehow I come up with a solution that gets me to be happy. And this is what I see travelers try to do, is they make a plan. They're going to go do Europe for 6 months. They're going to go travel in Europe. They're going to go all these places, and they get stuck in their plan. Their plan, instead of being a plan that makes them happy, their plan is running their life. So it's just like work at home. They make everything. So I basically will change my plans on a whim. I was going to go to, I'm in Georgia right now, I was going to go to this little rogue country over here, that I was going to go to Armenia, and I said, I had enough of this place. I got to go to a beach and sit in the place. I'm going to sit in one place for 20 days in Antalya, Turkey, hopefully sitting there looking at bikinis. I can't take this European travel where everybody thinks it's so great to look at these tourist attractions. Tourist attractions are really great, but really when you share them with a friend. And if you don't have your friend, you know, you basically, you know, how do you get so... I mean, there's very few tourist attractions I really want to see by myself. So it's, again, about the friendship thing. But most importantly, I don't make any plans that go on. I really try to avoid making... I screwed up a lot here in this Europe trip because I bought 3 or 4 plane tickets, and I don't think I'll ever do this again. I'll only buy 1 plane ticket at a time, because when I buy more than one, it basically makes me work to get to the next place, and then all my freedom's gone. So I really protect my freedom. And then when I make a mistake, like I did here in Europe, and coming in the fall and making all these plane trips, I tell you, I make it, I adapt. I don't act like I'm oh God. I make tons of errors in my travels, but you try to learn from the travels, and you try to adapt, and then you go, wait a minute, I did this before. So me, I buy one-way tickets to a place, and then I stay until I'm bored, and then I buy another ticket, and I don't stack things up so that I don't try to get my ducks in a row. I try to get one duck in front of me, and I live one day at a time. I don't try to ever plan the second duck. The second duck is work, okay? Because you're going to have to complete that. So I never let anything put me between a rock and a hard place where I have to go to the next place. But don't get me wrong. I accidentally make these errors and don't think they're such a big deal. It's like, oh, it's only for 2 months. What's the big deal? Well, 2 months of my life. You know, it's screwed. I should have just bought 1 ticket to Europe, and then roamed around, and then bought another ticket, roamed around, bought another ticket, and roamed around. But I do have a goal here that I'm going home, which is very ironic. This is the first time really I'm going home in Christmas to see my mom, because my father died last January, so I want to be home for Christmas this year, and then I'm taking her to Guatemala in January. So I really have a long-term plan that's a lot more important than, because it's friends, family, you know, it's my family. So see, it's back again to the friends and family and love, right? But I do make plans. I make, like, I'm thinking I'm going to go to there, then I'm going to go to Thailand in March, and then I'm probably going to go to Cameroon and go all the way to South Africa. But who knows if they're going to happen? Until I buy the ticket, I don't care. And if I tell you that I'm going to go do something and I don't do it, I don't care. I don't care what I tell you. I will rescind that and go do it, because this is just an idea. But people want to hold everybody to a plan. But worst thing is not holding to you or to me. It's when I hold myself to misery. So I make a plan and I won't change it. That's what I think the worst thing that travel bloggers do is they make these plans and how they're going to do things, and then they won't change, and then that's the reason why I hate reservations. They force me to obey something. So I like to go to countries that don't make me happy. So that's why Europe is never paradise to me, because I have to make reservations, and then, you know, then if you don't have a reservation for the 3rd day, you have to leave. Okay. So the next one is number 7, is what I did not do. Most important. This is what I have not done, or what I did not do. What I did not do when I was in the United States or anywhere in my life, I did not fall in love with things and need to protect them. Okay. I don't know how to. I don't know if I can get anybody to stop doing this, but this is the reason why you're living in your house, you're miserable, and you're thinking about traveling all the time, and you're afraid that you're going to lose something. And what you're not going to lose something, you're going to gain a life. So if you took your house and you just burned it, okay, what would you do? You'd be free. If you just walked away from your wife that you hate and just said goodbye, what would you wouldn't be without a wife, you would be free. And this is the fear of they protect things that they don't really love. And I refuse now to buy anything for fear that I'd have to spend time. Like I rented an apartment by the year in Togo, West Africa last year in 2014, the beginning of the year. I paid for a whole year in advance. I lived there for 2.5 months and decided that I didn't like it. I just had a whole bunch of stuff. I had a bed in there, I had a wash machine, I had all sorts of stuff that I bought. And I just kind of locked the door up, gave the keys to a friend, said you can use it, and left. I lost money. I don't care, because my pleasure, my life is more important than this thing. And this is where I think that most people really, they're afraid that they're going to miss something if they don't have the iPhone, right? And everybody else got the iPhone, they think they're going to do it. So they fall in love with the things and they don't realize that really what they want is friendship. And if you find the friends, family, and love in places that are paradise, you won't leave. And I have found these types of places. Okay, what others cannot do. What did I do? Okay. Maybe I mixed that up, but okay, what others cannot do. Most of you can't lose money. You're just afraid to lose money. I kind of think that see if you got the balls, the guts, take a $100 bill and just cut it in two and burn it, or just light it up with a match. If you can do that, then you're really free. I have a van that I just gave to my nephew. It was worth about $2,000. My mom kept talking to me, and I said, Mom, I don't care anything about the van. And finally I said, Bradley, this van is yours. She goes, put it in your name, forget about it. And she goes, well, what about the money? I says, Mom, I don't want to think about that van. I gave the van to my nephew but she, you know, she wanted it resolved, and it resolved it for her, it resolved it for me, and I'm happy, and I don't care. Bradley's a good man, and he's got a van, right? So maybe one day I'll sell it and I'll have $2,000. But the money wasn't the thing. Is that I didn't want to think about. I can't be bothered with thinking about these things we own. But most of you can't see that you're spending a lot of your brain thinking about something. It's like if you have a pair of pants and they really keep having holes and everything, throw them away, okay? Just get them out of your brain. I mean, if I start thinking about anything too much, I eject them, erase it from my life. If I have a friend that is causing me, every time I talk to them, they're sort of argumentative, I erase them from my life. I'm not going to allow a friend or a thing to make me think about it. It's like if I was thinking about the van too much, so I ejected it. I got rid of it from my life. And this is a thing that most of you cannot do. You just basically will sit there and talk and talk and talk about this job you hate, and you won't quit. Okay, why starting was important. This is the last one. I had it at the first, but I didn't want to make it first because it's about Europe. Most people go traveling, start traveling. I think most people dream about going to the Caribbean, or they dream about being the rich and famous. So they go on these trips to Europe, or they go into things, and they're not really complete until they go to Europe. I was lucky that my first trip was to Mexico, and then I went to Central America and all the way down to South America, and where life was simple and cheap. Anytime you go to anywhere that costs more than the place where you're living, which is Europe. Europe costs about twice as much as the United States. It's uncomfortable. I mean, because you don't have enough money. So I was lucky that I started in South America, Central America, where Mexico at the time was cheap. Now it's pretty expensive. I wouldn't recommend at all going to Mexico. But Guatemala, for example, is very cheap. So when I go to Guatemala, suddenly I'm a very, very wealthy man in a very poor country. But I don't. One of the worst things you can do is go I didn't ever go traveling to fix anybody. I don't go to Guatemala and think they're all poor and I'm going to help them. I think that's a desire to be God, and this is not what I want to do. I just want to enjoy life. My prime directive of travel is to enjoy life. So I didn't start in Europe, because if I would have started in Europe, what I would have done is I would have done a trip pretty much like I did, and it would have been so much work I'd have been relieved to go home. Right now, if you gave me $500, I'll go over to Tbilisi, Georgia, buy a ticket and fly back to the United States, because the United States would be a lot funner right now than being in Europe. But I don't have the money. I don't really have that kind of money I want to spend, and I already had paid for the ticket back home, so I'll just sit in Europe. So I'm not, my plan was to do this, so right now I'm going to go try to hide and not do anything in Europe for the next month of any consequence, and try to keep these long bus trips and plane trips to a thing. But I really don't get involved with there's trips where people think I got to see this, I got to see that, I got to see this, I got to see. What I got to do is do nothing in a day, and I got to be happy doing nothing. And I'm totally happy to do absolutely nothing today. And I don't feel any pressure. I won't allow you to pressure me. I won't have any of you say, Andy, you got to do this or you need to do that. I don't take the shame that I would be a stupid person if I was in Venice and I didn't really look at that much stuff, because I just didn't care. I didn't always tell everybody that. I don't always tell you that I didn't go look at stuff, but I just don't care. When it's really tempting and it sounds really good, I go do it. But if I could be in a city for 3 days and never go look at anything just because, I don't know, I just never got around to it. What I got to do with my life is I got to do nothing, and I got to be happy with nothing. And the reason why I can travel is because I don't feel any burning need to prove anything to anybody except myself. And the burning passion I have is to be in paradise. And in paradise, when you're in paradise, it's really easy to know everything's great. And if you're asking the question whether you're in paradise, you're not in paradise. And then that's time to leave. Sometimes I'm in these places that I consider really wonderful places, and I say, well, it's time to leave. Paradise has ended for now. I go back again, and it's paradise again for about 3 months, and then I keep traveling because I keep searching for another one of these places. I do search for these places all around the planet, but paradise is a place that is so inexpensive that you really don't think about the money. You think about who you're going to go talk with today and how to go see your friends. I do know that most people, I don't understand it, but somehow people haven't learned the art of friendship. They haven't learned the art of conversation, and they're not very good at sitting around just talking with anybody and everybody. I'm very, very good at just sitting around and talking with anybody and everybody, and just having fun. But at the end, this is the art of, back to the first one again, it's family, love, friends, and family. If you're good at love, if you're good at friends, and you're good at family, you're a success. And I think I'm good at love, family, and friends. And I also know that when somebody is, when I'm talking to a friend, and they just, not when I'm talking to an acquaintance, when I'm talking to anybody, and this is, whenever I'm doing anything, and I'm sitting there having a question like, why am I here? You ever sit in a chair and just sit there and go, why am I listening to this ding-a-ling tell me something? I don't sit there and listen. I stand up and say, excuse me, I go do something else, and I kind of get them out of my life. And once you're good at eliminating these things, you can fall in love with the places. But when you arrive in paradise, you'll see that the real paradise isn't really just about me, okay? If you get to a city, if you went into a hotel and you got people live there that have been living there for 3 months or 2 months or 1 week or 6 weeks, and everybody in the hotel just like won't leave because they like the place, and you're going, I was planning on leaving a week ago, but I didn't. Then you know you're kind of in one of these paradise locations for friends, love, friends, and family. And when you find these places, it's pretty obvious that you don't want to leave, and but you do after a couple months, because even that gets boring after a while. But that's to me the secret, is to always when I first started traveling, I traveled to cheap countries, then I traveled to places where there were a lot of people, the travelers' huddle, sitting around, and I just never wanted to leave. I was sitting there going, geez, I'm in paradise. I got all these people to talk to, all these pretty girls walking around, all this stuff going on, and I didn't want to leave. I finally just left, because at first when I was traveling, I left because I thought I had to do the trip. Now in hindsight, I would have made it take longer. Okay, I would have stayed there until I was bored and went to the next place. But the average person makes travel work, and work is where you make a plan and you stick to the plan. And then where you don't say any. Work is when you pretend you love something but you really don't. Okay, it's about being honest with yourself, and I'm not sure people can be honest enough to admit that they're not really having fun. And why don't I go just like some reason they believe they're a failure if they say something negative about a place. Like everybody else loves Europe, so I'm supposed to say I love Europe. I don't love Europe. I think it's way overpriced. The amount of pleasure I get for the amount of money spent is horrible. And I've never been any place in the last 2 or 3 months where people just got stuck. When I say got stuck, there's places where people go into a hotel and you can't get them to leave. Okay, Andy Graham, HoboTraveler.com. Traveled 16 plus years. You can get on HoboTraveler.com and put your email in the little box go to Andy's blog, and there's a little email at the top. Put your email in there, and you can subscribe to my travel blog, and you get these little updates every day. But please don't watch all of them. Watch the ones that make you happy. Okay, I always laugh when somebody wrote me a letter the other day, says you did this and this. I said, hey idiot, stop watching. It's not, I don't care. I don't care if you watch. Andy Graham, HoboTraveler.com.